Alrighty, so we are back with the Bold Moves podcast. This is our third episode, and we have a very special guest. We have my buddy, my pal, Marcelino Lopez, and then I'm your co-host, Matt Torres, with my other co-host, Rachel Staggs. So we are excited to have you, dude. It's been a long time since we've connected, man. So how you been?
I've been great, man. It definitely has been a long time. I think over 6 years?
Gosh, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to fill you in.
Okay.
All right. So
Tell me.
Marcelino and I are actors. So back in the day, it's been back in the day. It's been a while. 2017, 2018, something like that. I wanted to get into acting, and obviously you wanted to get into acting, and we met in our acting class, which was the late Bill Howie. He was one of the best acting coaches I've ever had the pleasure of working with. He taught some of the best people out there. I mean,
George Clooney,
Madonna. She was doing some acting stuff.
His son Steve Howie.
Yeah, his son. Yeah, Steve Howie was on Shameless, and now is on Reba. True Lies. He's just doing the True Lies. Great stuff. But
I know. Okay.
Yeah,
it's professional.
Yeah, it was actor. So what was different was he would come into town. He changed a lot of things because you went there to want to actually act, not just do stuff. So anyway, that's where we met. We started talking, and it was funny because you had lost a ton of weight.
Yeah.
And I had gone through a similar journey. I'm actually kind of slowly gaining some back now. But anyway, that's crazy because that in of itself is a bold move. But that just to fill you in, that's how we connected. But do you want to kind of fill them in on what we're ultimately doing with our show and what kind of bold moves we're seeing?
Definitely. I don't want to be like, hey guys, me too. But I've also lost 100 pounds since having kids. So I'm we bonded at work over that of oh, you lost that much too? Oh, and then there was another girl. Oh my God. So our boss joked that we're the biggest losers. But he has this amazing group of people who've done huge things. So first of all, congratulations. We know that that's not easy. My background, I'm from Texas. You might be able to tell by my accent. So I moved here about 6 weeks ago for an internal job transfer. So same, I'm a sales agent, just like my co-host here. And I do love insurance. I've done insurance for 7 years. And seems since we all have kind of known each other, 2017 is when I started insurance too. But I've always been a salesperson. So whether it was before that, in the interim, we did lose my dad from COVID. So I speak on that a lot about both life insurance and just how everything happened and unfolded, because I think it's a story where it is a surprise, right? We can't always plan that inevitable. So I do talk not doom and gloom, but just a lot about my dad's story and testimony so that people can have that option. They know now, oh my gosh, that there's a UIL that exists where they can be investing. I'm 34 at our age, right? And that could be something that they utilize in their 50s, things like that people just don't know about. It's more so sharing information. And if that aligns with what they want, great. As far as the show and bold moves, what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to talk to other salespeople, not necessarily just limited to Arizona, but it's worked out that way where we are supporting other fellow Arizonians, I think y'all are called, right? I'm used to saying Jackson, so that's pretty easy compared to it's a little bit of a mouthful, make sure I'm right. But just showcasing other businesses, right? Whether it's real estate like yourself or other people in different sales industries that are overcoming hurdles and maybe have had to bridge a gap. I joked and I said that I wanted to talk to the Michael Jordans of the world. Y'all trolled me for that. First of all, he was cut from his high school basketball team. Don't think I'm speaking on things I don't know. My daddy was a sports enthusiast. That came from the heart, okay? So they're like, oh yeah, of course you want to talk to the Michael Jordans of the world, the best, the greatest of all time. Yes, because initially, guess who wasn't the greatest of all time? That was what I meant by that comment, since I ripped a new one for that one. But just seriously, that was where I met, and that's truly what I mean, is maybe kind of talking to some underdogs or maybe some people who didn't have the traditional stories of instant success, right? Because that is most of us. It's not real life. It takes a lot of grinding. So if you're comfortable kind of sharing your story or what you feel is your most recent bold move in the real estate industry, fill us in, because I know from what I've heard, it's kind of a crazy time, just like it is for us, of just the ebbs and flows of the industry.
So I guess the bold move in my career, now going on 6 years, was really like reinvesting in myself, but also being able to, well, one, reinvest, but two, kind of shut the world out. And by shutting the world out, I mean like social media. Because if you sit there and just, doom scroll and you're comparing yourself to other people who've been in the industry for 10 plus years, 15 plus years, 20 years, you're like, well, I'm on chapter 5 or I'm on chapter 6, like, why am I not closing 100 plus homes? Why am I not making $1 million, $2 million bucks? Right. But you're like, okay, but I'm just getting started and they've been here for years and they have a book of business for years. Right. And so really, I think reinvesting in myself and trying to shut the world out and just focus on me has been one of my, I guess, quote unquote, bold moves to really just focus on myself and say, what do I need to work on to get me to where I want to be? And then just, put my head down and work.
Yeah.
So.
That's the craziest thing is like the investing in yourself part. A lot of people are afraid to do, like taking classes, you know what I mean? Like, or just like even in the marketing, like putting money in, it takes cash to make cash, it's just crazy. Well, I'm curious, was the acting thing, did that come into play at all in your career?
With real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, it's kind of funny because I wanted to get into acting because I wanted, I don't know, I guess to be, how do I say this? Well, one, to build my confidence, right? Second of all was because I wanted to see myself like on the big screen and thought that was super cool. And then after I started like actually acting and putting in the work, I'm like, okay, I kind of suck. So I don't think I want to see myself on the big screen anymore, which is kind of funny because like now I'm in front of a camera. Yeah. Now I'm scripting and now like I'm quote unquote playing a character. Yeah. When it comes to like property tours, voiceovers, and just, going out there and connecting with people, you do have to like put on like a mask, right? Or like portray in a way a different persona, but still be you, like more confident, like, right? So that definitely did come into play.
Dude, I've seen your videos and I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm watching $1 Million Listing or something, I'm like, yep, that's my boy, he's doing his acting thing. Yeah, that's funny because
a huge difference.
Oh, it does.
For the consumer, like watching it is like, oh, he knows what he's doing. For this, like,
it's so funny because
huge difference.
Oh, it's ginormous.
Yeah.
And it really does help with the confidence because like when I started taking acting classes and started doing more like acting work, like, doing stuff and like actually learning how to like create a character and how to like be a different person, it's basically sales, like really, you know what I mean? When you're talking to people and like you kind of have to mirror a little bit sometimes and you kind of have to adapt and you can just kind of like change, like I'm going to be XYZ and you're like, boom, you're that person and you can like, boom, change. And it's like so interesting, like just the whole, how it just ties together. I had no idea that the time I spent like doing acting classes and doing that stuff actually would like translate into real life stuff. So are you like planning maybe to do more with like the video and create like more like deeper stuff, or like what, are you gonna like take any risks on that? Like I'm curious because you're good at it.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because for the last 3 years I've been doing social media and I've been doing it like very, very consistently and just pushing it. But last year I was like, you know what? I was really burnt out on a lot of things. And I said, I'm just going to take 2024. I'm going to take a break, right? It's going to go on the back burner. And I just stopped posting because I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
And now looking at it, I'm like, I think I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one, just because so many things changed from the end of 2023 and during 2024 where I'm like, I could have put myself out there so many times through, video, but I just wasn't really like in the right headspace for it. But definitely going into, well, now being in February of 2025, it's one of my biggest goals. We just like to push content, whether it's raw, whether it's cinematic, whether it's like lifestyle type of things, but just to really build a brand using video and just showing people who I am and like what I do and so on and so forth. Letting people into my world is what I like to say.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that because we were having the same, thought process. I mean, it's really true because like when you're doing business with somebody, it's like with the old adage, you do business with people like, like and trust, right? And how are they going to know, like, and trust you if you only like talk to them on a sales call, or you only meet them once or twice during a, you know, a networking thing?
Yeah.
Like the video part of it, like for some reason, like, you know I do, I kind of like let myself be a little bit more real and just kind of like, okay, this is what it is. And when people see that, you know, like it just makes a better connection when you actually meet with them in person. So I think it just kind of goes all, you know, hand in hand. I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, like, I know you're really big on the social media and like really putting, you know, like getting people to know you and like, you got a lot of experience with it.
Sure. So I didn't share that part of my background, but I worked at that Blue Zuck social media app
I got it.
as a marketing expert. So
Word.
yeah, the other F word. Yeah, no, when everything was happening with TikTok and people were, you know, judging and having their opinions about what China was doing with that information, I was like, oh guys, if you only know what that place is doing with your information. But that's
Tracking everything.
literally, yeah, your metadata is crazy. They know who you voted for.
Are you sure?
They know if you didn't vote. It's actually kind of
Oh,
wild.
that is crazy.
But I'm like, yes. Okay, so that is kind of how I started and developed an interest. And I was helping different people. So at the time, I can name drop because these are businesses that I was working with. And I want to give them their shine. So at the time, it was Black Rifle Coffee Company, Pink Lily Boutique. Those are who I was assigned to in 2019.
Wow.
So I was helping them with their marketing campaign. So if they needed, you know, most of those, they were already kind of like a household name even at that point. Like people knew who they were. So maybe not a reach campaign. Maybe for them, we're further down the marketing funnel and we're asking for conversions. So I was helping them place ads on Facebook and making those ads more successful for them. That's where the interest came about for me personally, because that was the era of TikTok, 2019, 2020, of that becoming a thing. That was like the precipice of TikTok. Well, I started going viral using everything that I learned. And with millions of views, I was giving marketing advice. So I was telling people, this is your call to action. This is what you need to be doing. This is your beginning, middle, and end of your video. But I helped over 400 people go viral on TikTok in particular and IG Reels. But my focus has been video media of how do you use the era of social selling to best sell you. One of the things that I teach people in particular with TikTok, if you haven't known yet, TikTok is geo-focused. So it's pushed out based off location. So what part of Arizona or what part of Phoenix are you in?
The Southeast Valley. So Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek, Mesa.
Okay, so I'm Queen Creek, Santan Valley. So I'm a little bit further southeast. I'm in the same area. Okay, same ballpark. So if we were sourcing for people in our area, I have a lot of home developments and a lot of people that I am sourcing down here because it's not so saturated. That is a strategy, right? Go where other people haven't. And so the outskirts of any town tend to be good to purposely target. But we live in this area, so even more so for a reason for us to target. So if you were to go live or post on TikTok, I would recommend that you tag specifically Chandler or Mesa or Santan Valley where you're trying to target. And then if your post gets seen by, let's say, 500 people, new eyes, new viewership, you're going to get follows from that. It might be 20 this time. It might be 60 next week. But that brand consistency and what you're saying over time builds and builds and builds. And TikTok likes to push old videos. So a week from now, that same video that did okay is going to be doing even better. Now we got 1,000 likes on that video. Now we have traction. Now we have 20,000 views on your home tour video. That's something that we can like build upon because every person who interacts with that is going to see your subsequent 2 or 3 posts. So we have a nugget of opportunity to keep that viewership or to now get a follow from somebody who's now seeing you a second time. So kind of targeting that way, that specific, and targeting geo-focused, and then teaching people how to go live. Have you gone live for a real estate?
Like IG Live, Facebook Live?
And TikTok Live in particular.
Live, yeah.
So
sorry.
No, it's okay.
So I used TikTok, I want to say in 2022, 2023. And you could get views like crazy, like 15,000 minimum, 30, 40, 50,000 at like a mid spot, right? And then if they would take off, they would take off. I mean, I had a video that I posted, which my editor at the time was actually my brother.
Oh, awesome.
Shout out to my brother. He's really, really good with editing. And because of his work and, you know, me being in front of the camera, I'm like, here, cut it up, make me look smart, whatever. We threw it up onto TikTok, and the power of social media is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like what you think isn't going to stick actually ends up sticking. And when it sticks, I mean, it gets 2 million views and you're like, oh, which is what happened with me. And then I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with TikTok, which is kind of stupid because I could have like kept going and followed, that snowball compounding effect. But when you're trying to juggle TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Reels, Pinterest now apparently has,
Eliminate. That's what TikTok is using to compete with Pinterest.
Yeah. So like when you try to juggle everything on top of running a business, it's like, okay, this is too much and you end up doing nothing. But as far as live, if I'm tracking, I don't think I've gone live just yet.
So you only need 1,000 friends to be able to go live on TikTok. But the reason I say that is they push you to new people based off where you are.
Oh.
Brand new people who've never seen you before will stumble into your live from the FYP who are local. That's what I mean about the app being geo-focused, not just people who've interacted with your content, random people who are just in your 5-mile radius. So it can be beneficial for like what we do. You have an open house, right? You pushing and you going live for even 10 minutes. You'll have people come.
Well, I mean, I have 1,300 followers on Instagram, which is like the platform that I use the most.
Yeah.
So,
Do you follow Gary Vee?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I've seen him like say recently, like TikTok is just gonna explode this year. I mean, like, well, it's interesting because like, social media back when it first got started, it was like all based on like how many people are connected to you, how many friends you had, how many followers. And now it's like, it's not like like you were saying, it's geo focused and it just goes out to people. And it's like, wait, what? Like, I don't.
Random accounts have the chance to go viral too.
Yeah, because they push them first, right? Because everyone else is like, oh, I'm down here.
The first couple videos, they try to give you push to get you that excitement, that gambling kind of dopamine hit, right? And it works.
Like I really like the trial reel, I guess widget, if you want to call it, that Instagram is pushing, because it lets you know like how good your reel or post is going to do before you even post it. I just end up posting it either way because I'm like, you know what? If I can get in front of 100 people, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's super cool, dude. But I also think TikTok will probably make a comeback this year for sure.
Oh man. So I started seeing commercials about small businesses that were saying like, my business survives on TikTok. Like they wouldn't have a business without TikTok. And it's true. Like there's a lot of companies where, like if you're looking at like coffee shops or even restaurants, like they'll just post videos of them like making stuff and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then like you go to the store, you go to the restaurant.
Simple.
Yeah, it's super simple. It's crazy, and like
that's exactly what I was going to say is restaurants. Like think about how many people have not survived since COVID times, right? And the difference maker, like I immediately thought of Amici's Pizza.
Yeah.
So here in Phoenix, this girl she's a relative of the family, right? She's like a niece or something. She started posting their Italian food. There was like nobody in the restaurant.
I think I know what you're talking about.
They cannot keep up with orders and people are saying it's kind of like above mid Italian food. I'm not talking crap, but people are saying like it's nothing to halt, like it's not God's gift to earth. But the power of marketing and social selling, right? Everybody now, because of the cute videos and everything that she's made, they've built a brand identity. Everybody wants to try their pizza and their pasta, even if they're going to argue if it's mid or not. That's still the point, right? That's still the point. And I taught people if you create an argument, right? Like, so like I'll post the best brunch places in Phoenix. People who are homegrown here are going to be like, that is not the best. It's not the best brunch place that's really here, right? And then people who are from out of town or transplants are like, no, they'll give like a chain example. And people will be mad. You said over easy. There's like 6 of those. That's like not special. And so they'll be arguing over nothing. But that is engagement.
And if you like art, that shows the app that you're engaging with your own posts, and they'll keep pushing it. I've learned a few things here.
Comment back, but not over comment. That's the thing. So like if you spam your own comments, it's not going to work. But like if you comment organically 2 or 3 at a time and then leave completely close out of the app, you'll get more engagement.
Have you heard of this other app called Flip?
No.
So it's so weird. I saw a thing on it, so I got on there, and it's just like TikTok, and people are reposting like their TikTok videos, but it gives you money. Like every time you watch a video, like your thing goes up like a few cents, whatever. Like, so I was like, I didn't know what that was. And I'm like, just scrolling through it. And all of a sudden I got like $38. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So apparently you get like, they're paying you to watch this thing, but it's not cash you can like cash out. But they have a bunch of stuff on there. This is like social selling now, where you could use that to buy stuff there. So like if you wanted to
like TikTok shop, it's similar to that.
Kind of like that.
Buy
Like
it in the store.
Like I'll admit, I bought one of those little suction cup things where you hold your phone, which is awesome, by the way. Like I saw that and I'm like, so I bought it and it's like I use it. But stuff like that, like if I saw that on Flip, I could use that money that they gave me for flipping through and like buy that. And then once you buy something, then you're eligible to make videos that are basically reviewing different products and then sell products and then start making money in there. So it's like really weird. It's like kind of like a hybrid TikTok where people are going on there and then they're like making cash and like, I don't know, like legit how much is legit. You know what I mean? Some people are saying I made $5,000 in 15 days. And I'm like, really? But I mean, like, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. New concept. I mean, social selling is one of those things that is going to be like, huge. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like, if you want to kind of go back to like the social selling, once you're in front of your quote unquote crowd very consistently, right? Showing up through, I use Instagram, so I'm just going to go there. Stories, posting, DMs, reacting, and doing all these other things. And you let people into your world, right? At least from the real estate side of it. And you post what you're doing and you let people in on, hey, I'm doing this with real estate now. Hey, I'm doing that with real estate, so on and so forth. The selling kind of takes care of itself because they've sold themselves on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was I saying? I think I was telling you this. So like there was I saw this TikTok clip thing. And it was Denzel Washington and Steve Harvey. And they were like having a conversation. And Denzel Washington was telling Steve Harvey, he says, you know what the difference between me and you when someone comes to...
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Should have put my phone on.
No, you're good.
Airplane mode. Did it disconnect?
No. You're still. I'm still listening to you. You're good. That must have a nice. You're good. So he said, you know what the difference between me and you is? Me and you, like when fans come up to see us. So Denzel Washington was saying, when fans come to see me, they're like, oh, hi, Mr. Washington, how you doing? Like, oh, like nice to meet you. And then Steve Harvey, when they come up to see Steve Harvey, like, Steve, what's up? Oh, I'll give you a hug. Hey, what's up? Like they're all chummy. And the difference he was saying is because Steve Harvey is on TV, he's on a show. Like in a show, you're inviting people, like they're inviting you in, like they're all of a sudden, like they know you, like you're like buddies. But then like on film, like movies, it's like a one-off, like there's like, oh, like there's not that connection. So it's just very strange, like when you think about it. But I do it too. Like when I see people on TV and I'm like, if I ever saw that person, I would think, oh, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
But they don't know me, But
it's kind of funny that you say that because a lot of my wife's friends have like followed me on social media and they're in the medical field. And so when they have like these holiday parties, I go, I've never met any of them. I met like maybe one or two, but because they follow me on social media, because, I'll tag her in something and then she'll share it, so on and so forth. So then they kind of like tag along and they start following me. It's kind of funny that you said that. So when I go to these holiday parties, they come up to me like, hey, what's going on? Like they've known me. And I'm like, I don't even know this person, but like, what's going on, man? How are you? It's like, hey, I look at your stuff every single day. I like this. I like that. Hey, did you ever end up doing that one thing you were talking about in your story? I'm like, oh my God, this guy knows more about me than I do, which is awesome. But again, going into that, you let people in, right? And the selling kind of takes care of itself because they drop their guard.
Yeah. And then you follow it up with, by the way, do you rent?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's funny.
Yeah. You're going through a divorce, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's a review.
I'm curious, man. Are you like planning or have any desires to do any more acting stuff?
At this time, probably not.
No.
I guess acting with like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
With real estate, probably, but not like, hey, let me go audition for a commercial or like for a background, background character or whatever, a fill-in spot, whatever. Probably not. Yeah. I always joke with people. I'm like, you know what? I'm way too deep into real estate now for me just to go like in another direction. Maybe if real estate keeps going in the direction that I, think it's going to go, and I connect with somebody that has like a network of some sort, then maybe, right? But at the end of the day, like, is that really acting when it's more of like reality TV?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I would like, which is kind of cool, but
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
We should collab. Like I'm like your idea of like reality TV and real estate is like always fascinated me. You know what I mean?
So my goal, or what I want to do with real estate, and I keep shaking the table, I'm so sorry, would be to kind of bring in $1 million listing and like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, mashing it together, but YouTube format where you have a reality TV show on YouTube around you, kind of following you around like the Kardashians, but also like, I guess, documenting your life through real estate as well, and kind of doing like those off bits where you're sitting on a couch interviewing.
Yeah.
And then they play like a scene of you, like, I don't know, out with your family, but then taking a business call. I don't know, just stuff like that, like very Netflix. That's what I would like to do on YouTube.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
yeah, no, we've talked about like, you know, show concept ideas and everything because like, you know, I do like acting, you know what I mean? I do want to get back into it, but it's like, I'm with you, like when you're in your career and then like you have to go like on a set for, you know, 10 hours and sit in a green room or somewhere for 9 of those hours, you know what I mean? Before you actually get to do your thing. It's like taxing. It's frustrating. And then it's like, you know, like I got bills to pay, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, man, which is why I try to do like some theater here and there if I can, you know, like my church and stuff. But, yeah, that's why creating your own content, like I think is a way to go because you can do those things. Like you can do what you like to do, but then also forward your idea of your business and how you want to do it. You know what I mean? And satisfy both of those, you know, check both those boxes, if you will.
Well, and it's kind of funny that you say that. So if I were to pursue the acting world again, I think I would continue to do real estate and keep working my butt off, right? And try to make like a better living that I've made now and turn my wife into kind of like a housewife. So Bravo comes to Arizona and they're like, hey, we want to do, you know, Real Housewives of Arizona or something. Like, hey, there we go. There's my little like, I guess, shameless plug of throwing myself into the platform and saying, hey, I saw real estate. Kind of like with Beverly Hills, you know, where they have Cal Richards and Mauricio Umansky. So I don't know. That's what I would, I guess, like to do.
Nice.
Or that'd be kind of cool to do. So
like what other like big leaps have you taken? Have you taken any other like huge jumps in your business or just like in life in general?
I think the biggest leap, which in the beginning was, I guess, kind of like a downfall, was I didn't join a team when I first started. And I've been just solo since I started. And I wish if I could go back, I would have been on a team because it would have like accelerated my career a lot quicker, right? And I would be a lot farther down the road in my eyes if I would have gone in that direction. But I guess the leap that I've taken was not to be on a team and just kind of go solo and figure it out on my own. And I mean, I've failed a lot, but I've also learned a lot too. So I mean, I guess you can take that as like a leap or a risk.
Well, I mean, like you've been doing it, what, 6 years? You said 6 years?
Going on 6.5 years almost.
I mean, man, like there's a lot of real estate agents that don't make it 1 year.
Yeah.
You know, and like for going solo and not being on a team and to be where you are now, I mean, I think that says a lot. You know, I mean, like on work ethic, drive, motivation, like, and just like know-how and how to get stuff done.
Well, because you have to make it work because, you know, when people get into real estate, they think that they have an open schedule and they can go do whatever they want. They can go hiking, they can go to the mall, they can go do this, but then they forget that you're self-employed and you have to go out there and do things because no one's going to tell you what to do, you know? And so that's why I believe most agents or people who get into real estate don't really make it because they think that they have all of this freedom when they don't.
Yeah.
You know, your freedom is actually more secure when you go and you work for a company or an organization where you work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and you have vacation, you have benefits. Like that's your freedom. In real estate, you have no freedom.
Yeah.
And I mean that like legitimately. It's great, but there is no freedom.
Yeah, that's funny you said that because like when we met, I had that corporate job, you know what I mean? Like I worked for an insurance company and I was corporate and straight, you know, 9 to 5. I made, you know, commission and it was very lucrative, straight 9 to 5. And so afterwards I can like go do acting and like check out and go do stuff. But like now when you're trying to build a business, like if 5 o'clock is not the end of the day, you know, like there's times I'm still working at like, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning, or like lately I've been getting up at like, 5, so that way I can like do like, because I'm a software developer too, and I like to code stuff, and I can't do it when I get home, because when I get home I got kids I got to take care of, got to like get dinner going, got to take my daughter to gymnastics, or we got to take my son to robotics, or they're doing these things, you know what I mean,
family things,
and then it's like, oh man, when am I gonna, and then it's like 8 o'clock rolls around, and I'm old now, and I'm tired at 8 o'clock. I'm like, I don't want to do anything, and then I got to find time to at least get on a treadmill or something. So it's the only time is just to get up early and start doing stuff. And then I lost my train of thought. What was I going with this?
That's it, babe. For my ears, just kicked in. It was about we were talking about like the 9 to 5 and the career, and when you're self-employed versus a career.
Thank you.
And all of that. No, you're good.
Yeah,
my EDD brain kind of.
You see,
if you haven't noticed, we're all kind of got the same. That's why we're in sales. When I got out of the car today, I was like getting all my stuff, and I put my coffee cup on top of my car. Yeah.
And then I was like getting all my stuff, and then like I was like thinking, I'm gonna forget it. I'm like, no, you won't. And I grabbed all my stuff. Halfway through, I'm like, my coffee. I'm like, the only reason I remember someone else was like holding their coffee, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't.
You're like, why is my hand up big?
But yeah, no, I was just gonna say it was a lot easier to do it back then because you could just check out. But that's true. I know a lot of real estate agents that they think that they have this flexibility.
I will also say, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but it's also youth, right? It's when you're green and you just haven't lived it yet. It's not necessarily about age, right?
Yeah.
We can go into a career at 34 that's different than what we were doing before. It's being new to the flexibility, like being new to being able to make your own schedule. But what that really means is you need to be obedient to your own schedule and your own boundaries, not it's really open season of like all of that flexibility that you had mentioned. So I feel like we can relate, like once we're on plan as agents, no matter who you work for, it's very much so, okay, well, now you're a commission-based structure, so bye, like go get out in the field, go do your thing, 21, bye. And they're expecting a volume and a lot of goals to be hit. Well, I've told you, I'm brand new to this community. So I have a huge following on IG in particular from back home and from those days of doing social media, like 129K on Instagram.
Show me your way.
I will, I'm telling you.
I need a freelance. She's like, so pretty auto master. Is this social media?
I'm not kidding either. I'll help you. But understanding of like, I can get somebody to that level, and I helped a lot of, ironically, landscaping businesses. I had a guy dancing to Cherry Pie on a stick.
Oh, wow.
A farmer wearing farmer gear,
yeah.
Okay? But it's like, I've made a joke of like when it hasn't rained and he's willing to do whatever, right? And so he was twirling on a pole, but a grown man, so it went viral with 3 million views. Of course, because it was utilizing everything, right? It was hitting it from all angles, and it was funny, and it was sexy, but not,
Yeah.
It was definitely more so funny. But just thinking of ideas and concepts, like my brain is ADHD AF. And so my brain just thinks in commercials. You know what would go really good? We get this person here. And I'll just like spitball ideas. Like at like 3 p.m., I'm like, hey, we should do this. Or we should talk to so-and-so. Or I know so-and-so at so-and-so, and I think we should get them on the pod. And it works. We, neurodivergent folks tend to find our people. We find each other.
Divergent folks, I like that. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah, we tend to, birds of a feather flock together, right? We tend to find each other because we understand each other in terms of communication and stuff. So we relate really hard. But if there was something that or somebody that you were looking for in terms of prospecting, I like to ask, right? Because we're here to move your business forward in real estate. Who are you looking for right now? Who would you want to be speaking to? Is it newer families? Who are you kind of trying to talk to right now?
It is people that are living and moving to Arizona within the ages of 25 to about 55, because that's pretty much, who moves in and out of Arizona. And I'm looking for particularly young families, established families, and people that are empty nesting.
See how he did that in about 5 seconds of me asking what it was he was looking for? I'm looking for the same. I'm looking for new families, people who've just joined unions together, people who are newly engaged. At Bridal Expo is one of the angles I'm trying to hit right now in May, of new families who are also like mine, who moved here for jobs primarily.
Yeah.
Is there a certain area of Arizona that has been working out well for you that you're trying to focus on, the area that we spoke on earlier?
Yeah, the Southeast Valley for sure, because one thing in real estate is can I cuss a little bit on this or no?
You're fine.
Yeah, okay. You can only bullshit your way through, talking and connecting with people in areas that you don't know, right? And most people, like when you guys go to a place, and they're trying to sell you and they're trying to, spitball, connect with you, bullshit with, what have you, when they're lying to you. Yeah. When they're just trying to fluff you up, right? Yeah. And so that's why, like, I kind of like to joke that I like to stay in my Southeast bubble because that's where I grew up. That's where I've lived my whole life. So if somebody asks me,
introduce me to all the people, I make all the friends. But that's kind of how I felt back home, of like big fish in a small pond. And that's how I felt ego wise. It's a humbling experience to be a big fish in a brand new big pond. Right?
See, and the flip side of that is if I were to pick up and move, let's say, because I've always had this itch of like, hey, if I were to move and leave Arizona, where would I go? I'd probably go to the East Coast.
Really?
Yeah. I'd probably go to New York because I like getting yelled at. I like beating. I like yelling at people. Not like in that word, but just like talking, right? I'm actually very, very introverted, believe it or not.
You're probably more of an
ambivert.
Ambivert.
So like a mixture of both?
Yeah. So
we've theorized this a lot.
And her name was Vanessa Ness or something. I forgot. But she's really good on, we talked about this last time with like body language and like, making.
I caught myself doing it and I stopped.
Yeah.
Just arms folded. I was like, oh.
But she said something like there are introverts and there are extroverts, obviously. Extroverts, basically, they get their energy from like going out and talking to people. And then introverts, like that all of a sudden drains them. So an introvert an ambivert is an introvert who can balance in being kind of like an extrovert, but it drains them to all get out. And then you have to like go home and return
it back.
Yeah.
That's more so me. Is like it's all over the board of the time and day. I also think if you're a little bit on the spectrum, like the autism spectrum, I also think we're taught to mask our entire lives. So if you think about a sales roles usually involve a script. What do y'all both have in common? Acting?
Yeah.
Reading from a script?
Yeah.
Somebody telling you what to do and you just knowing how to do that really good? Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. We can turn it on in scene and then we're done and we're done.
But it's also a lot of like improvising too.
100%.
So I know I have like some type of autism on the spectrum, and my son, he has autism. That's how I found out and realized, oh, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
We found out in a similar way.
But yeah, like, so latching on to like the script and the structure. I don't know if you remember, I don't think I told you about this. Like I did this commercial like a long time ago. And I had to basically be on camera and like, it was a long like monologue type thing. And there's this another dude, he flew in from LA. He was, actor, you know what I mean? And he was sitting there struggling. Like they had to go cut. They did it like, I don't know how many takes, like 15 or 20 takes, because he couldn't memorize this thing. Me, I visualize things and I go through a script and I like verbatim, boom, like know it.
Okay,
like,
Rain Man. I relate so hard though. Of like, does your brain take pictures? Do you have photographic memory?
Yeah.
Me too.
And I see music. Like I'm a musician. So when I see words and text, I see phrasing and I see like
it moves.
Oh,
that's cool. I wish I was like reading Rainbow in my head. I'm not.
Like I can see dynamics, like when certain words have to like get louder and then softer, and then when you're gonna phrase it and everything. So I see all this, and so when I did my take, I still remember this, and I did it in one take, and it was like, and then the guy was like, "Dang," I'm like, "All right," like
I know.
Yeah, I was like, let's print it, let's go.
Yeah.
It was just funny. Yeah, the guy would just kind of looked at me and was like, yeah, like, but like, how long I sat there with like my script.
You prepared.
And like just running it through. And when I run through, like I'll say it in like, I didn't realize this was an ADHD thing and an autistic thing, but I was whatever that phrase is, and I'll say it over and over and over. And then I'll say the next one over and over and over, and then I'll marry the two, like make a like an arc,
like a bridge,
yeah, exactly. And then I'll just do that for each line over and over.
Kind of musical pattern.
Oh yeah, it's so weird. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
but when it's done, when you execute it,
yeah.
I feel a little screwed by my photographic memory because mine is not cool musical lyrics. Mine is just like a book, and my brain just remembers where it was on the paper. That's all I get. I just get like, in my brain, it's like a highlighted pink or like neon teal. Like it was right here.
Yeah.
It was on the right side. It was in the second paragraph. It said it right there. And then my brain's like, and that's how I know.
When you were studying lines, how did you memorize your lines? Like what kind of method did you have?
One by one.
One by one?
and then I would read them one by one 5 times. I don't know why. Just I have to read everything 5 times.
So here's an interesting thing that I did. I would take my script and whatever phrase I needed to memorize, I would find a picture that reminded me of that
Oh,
phrase.
that's smart. It's almost like a mnemonic device. It's
Right.
creating like a picture
Yeah.
creation.
So I would go online and I would like look for pictures, and I would take a little snippet tool and I would just copy the picture and put it in a Word doc. And so like there'd be one line and it would have like 5 different pictures, images, whatever. And in my mind, that would trigger a phrase or a word or whatever. And so I would be reading lines, but I would be looking at a page full of like pictures, like little.
Yeah, I know I was joking about the Rain Man comment earlier, but have you ever tried to count cards? I'm kidding, but not, Matt. This is unrelated, but
I the casino.
we need to know. Yeah, let's go.
I've never thought about it, but I like the more like we talk about it, like visually, like
That's what I'm saying. Of like, yeah, you just kind of basically decoded the whole concept of Rain Man. But if you applied that to playing cards, you could memorize 52 playing cards if that's how your brain works.
So like
You get in trouble for counting cards.
Yeah, that's if you get caught.
my wife, she's not as visual. She's more like names and stuff like that. She'll ask me, do you remember so and so? And I'm like, so and so. I'm like show me a picture. Oh yeah, I know that person. Like faces and pictures and everything, boom, instantly I can recall it. But if you tell me a name, I'm like, who? Like,
it's hard for me, especially if they go by a nickname. If they go by their name, then I'll remember forever.
Yeah.
If they call themselves, like if their name's Raymond and they go by Ray, I'm not going to remember that. If you tell me it's Raymond, that's Ray, because that's what he called himself, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because like if we circle back to like, you know, if I had to go and start over again, I would go, you know, to like the East Coast and just start farming on social media and learning everything and kind of being a sponge to whoever I can like.
That's kind of what I'm doing right now, because I'm utilizing the marketing brand and being able to help other people, right, in whatever industry they're in, of like, look what I can do for you for free, gratis, but I need your help in this way. I'm brand new to this area. I'm a very sweet girl. I have, 7 years of experience, but I'm green, right? And this was my bold move of he was military, children's father. We lived in different places. We lived in 4 other states before returning back to Texas in 2017. But my bold move was after my dad passed away, I thought I was going to be in Texas forever. But when that happens, you're in a situation where everything reminds you of that past person, of grieving that person. My dad was Little League head coach for my little brother. We had a select baseball team for my little brother. My dad coached all of these little boys. So I would just see random kids my dad had coached, and it's like, gut punch. Having to pass by the funeral home was right by like my nearest Ross and Marshalls. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to see this every single time, of getting rerouted from work and having to pass my dad's cemetery, of like, okay, you know what? It's time. Even though I love Texas, Texas will always have a huge place in my heart. It's where I'm from. I sound like Sandy Cheeks. I love being from Texas, but at the same time, it was time to spread my wings in that way. So, I think it's whenever we want and whenever we feel ready. My kids are now older. My kids are 10 and 8. It was the right time they wanted the move from school. They wanted a fresh start where I wasn't feeling like I was taken away from their home or taken away from them. So my mom's coming in 2 weeks from Texas to visit. So they still have those bits from home and a family that are coming to see them and giving them lots of attention in that way. It's just different. And I feel like moves like that are terrifying, but sometimes super worth it.
Well, and they help you grow, right? And even like
exponentially in like a really short time, like you had mentioned, of for sure.
Like even like, again, being for almost 30 years, my entire life here in Arizona, I've grown up in the Southeast Valley, but now like I'm starting to explore, even though like I know the valley like the back of my hand. When you start like getting into the data, I'm like, okay, I can't really bullshit myself out of this one, because I don't know. And I hate lying to people. Right. And so I've been kind of venturing out more like into North Phoenix, Central Phoenix, Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, Central Scottsdale, the Arcadia pocket that runs through Phoenix, Scottsdale. And then I believe I'm probably going to be wrong for this, but like Paradise Valley. But even getting into like those markets, you think you know real estate, you think you know your market, you think you know like where you live, until you start exploring. You're like, I don't know anything, Well,
and then to be fair, things are always changing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the market's going to go crazy this year. I've been hearing a lot of things.
I think so too. And I'm not just going to toot your own horn, but I am. So my husband got hired at Gulfstream like Elon
Mesa?
in Mesa.
I love Gulfstream.
So of course you do, because we got money, right? We got that steady money of jet money. They get paid jet money, and that's a reliable job. Awesome. He used to work for Textron Cessna Citation.
Okay.
And then he worked at a mom and pop, and he was managing. So that was why he left Cessna for that. They poached us from Texas. So yeah, it was like a $12 increase per hour.
Explains why you're in Queen Creek, Santan, because it's right there.
It is.
Yeah.
So he's Queen Creek and I'm Santan, and I work in Chandler. So it works itself out where we're hitting all of your southeast pockets of people. But I've been talking to a lot of real estate companies over there, both rental company units and then, brand new home developments of how can we help each other? How can I get you out there? How can I help you make connections for all of those people and all these transfers that are coming in? Because my husband's a lead. He's a manager. So he's managing a team of 10 and he's always getting new people. So we created that conversation, and I got to be in somebody's welcome packet this past week, not knowing anybody, but being willing to ask, right? So like kind of what you're saying is like, niche, like go where you know, but sometimes like being bold and taking the risk of what you don't know pays dividends too.
And being around people, that you're like, okay, well, I'm not, I guess, qualified to be in this room, but I mean, they don't know that.
They don't know.
Right.
They're none the wiser.
There's also some people in that sea of people, in whatever room that you're in, who aren't qualified also. But
also too, if they're going to point out that you're not qualified, they were never going to help you anyway.
Exactly.
If you see it like that, don't take it as an L, right?
No.
Take it as if they have a stank attitude, they were going to have a stank attitude no matter who you were.
And then go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I guess reverting everything back to real estate, because my brain is real estate. I can't turn it off.
And that's how we feel about insurance and different sales lines too. So I mean, I get that.
And what I was going to say is like the cool thing with real estate is now, like, when you start to quote unquote establish yourself a little bit more, and I'm not established or anywhere near where I want to be, but I'm like miles ahead of where I was when I first started. You get to
give yourself your flowers. So don't say, you know what I mean, of like that happy medium, but it's okay. I also think salespeople, like, we're never really done. So like we always have another goal.
My wife's like, why don't you celebrate anything? I'm like, because it's done. Like, what's next?
I think male partners need to be reminded that it's okay to celebrate your wins too, though. The happy medium, right? You can always be hungry for more, but celebrate your wins so that it's another attainable goal.
Well, and like, again, with that is when you start to establish yourself a little bit more, you can kind of get like picky with who you work with and who you don't want to work with. And because like if someone's like an energy suck, right? You're like, I don't want to be around this person. If this person's like very negative for no reason, I don't want to be around that person. Like if this person's just like victimizing themselves like over and over and over again in real estate, people that you meet, I'm like, I'd love to help you, but I don't think we're a match. Yeah. Like I want to find people who want to work with me, and I want to work with people who are my tribe, my sort of energy people, my ADHD, ADD people, just, finding people that you connect with easily, and you don't have to like, again, put up a front with them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm going back a little bit earlier. It's imposter syndrome. Like I never knew that was a thing, and like I struggled with that like my entire life. And I feel you on that one. And it's just like one of the biggest things to overcome, and realizing like you do know your stuff. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be here, and like especially you wouldn't be in it for 6 years if you didn't know your stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just like interesting, like because internally, we can kind of like get to ourselves and not like make that realization unless somebody else like kind of like points it out. And it's just weird. I don't know.
Imposter syndrome is also being fresh, right? Being new to whatever world or industry you're in. But like if you stick to it, right, and you just keep at it and you're consistently out there working and educating yourself, like that imposter syndrome goes away like that.
Yeah.
Because you start, walking the walk, not just talking, but it's all about repetition. I mean, when I first got into real estate, nobody was going to trust me. I didn't know anything. And they would let me know by not working with me, which is fine. So I'm like, okay. And then when I started having people giving me a shot, I'm like, are you sure? Like I started to go into like the imposter syndrome, like, why me? Like, why are you giving me a shot? Like for other people who've been in this industry for like 10 plus years, you're giving me a shot, like why? And then you close them, or then you move forward with everything, and you're like, okay, cool, how can I keep this feeling going? And then I hope I'm not like, I hope I don't get imposter syndrome on the next one. And then it just slowly starts to fade away. But then you get into new rooms like here, right? And in the podcast, this to me is like imposter syndrome to me, because I ask myself, like what I told you yesterday, I'm like, I am not that great. I am not that special. Are you sure you want to have me?
Let me back it up.
Yeah.
We have the same amount of years of experience. What makes you more qualified or me more qualified than you? A following? No.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Right.
I have a lot of years of sales experience just because of age. Okay. But other than that, you know what I mean? It doesn't. And it doesn't quantify your worth, is all I would say.
Well, then I guess I kind of look at it from, again, my industry, because the people that I typically...
And you compare yourself to other people who've done it. Well, comparison is the thief of joy, my friend. I bet your mom and wife tell you that, because it's so real. You said it. The keeping the blinders on, running your own race, like, that horse euphemism, right? Horses have to wear blinders. They can't look at who's going to the left or to the right of them, because what happens? They turn their head and now they're distracted, and the jockey's going to have to whip the heck out of them because they're not going to be focused on their race. The blinders are literally for that horse so that they are completely, I'm all literal, but so they're focused on their goal, and they don't have what's going on with Tina and Brad over here. They're just focused on running their own race.
Which is,
which was your thing.
Kind of funny, like when you guys first asked me, like, what was like the bold move? It was reinvesting in kind of like shutting the world out. I'm slowly starting to shut the world out, but I am such a sore loser. I love competing. And I'm kidding. Like,
no, I get it.
I'm not going to get.
It's like that Get Orange theory. Like, even when you work out, like, you want to compete with people. Like, yeah.
Like, if you tell me that I'm not going to do something, I'm going to be like, okay. And I get mad.
I have that attitude too. I get it. I got that chip on my shoulder. So see.
I swallow it because I'm like, okay, this is not good. You should probably tone it down. But again, like, that comparison is because of competitiveness. At least that's how I look at it. Like, I am so competitive.
Did you play sports growing up?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
did too.
Dude, so.
And karate too. And yeah, competitive.
Yeah. Interesting story on that competitiveness. So when I was in ROTC at ASU, and I did a lot of running, then I would get on the treadmill in the gym over there, and I'd be running, and then there would be this Navy ROTC guy come up on the treadmill next to me, start running, and I don't know what clicked, but in my mind I was just like, I got to run longer. And I think, like, we were at mile 10 and we're still going. I'm like, this guy's still running. I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep going. I ran like 17 miles on that thing before he like, I was not going to stop. And I was like, I got into like some mental thing where my mind was just like not even there. And he finally did leave. And then I was like, okay, I get off. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. But when just imagine, like, there's a little bit of blood on my shirt, like it's like things, friction and stuff. And it's just like, but my mind, like, I'm with you, like the competitiveness for some reason just kind of like kicks in, and like, yeah, it was just weird, mind-boggling. To ask me to do it again, like, no way. Like,
well, and the thing with that too, it's kind of funny. So I have about 533 people in my CRM right now, and out of those 533 people, about 20 of them are looking for about, I want to say, in the range of 1.5 to 2.5 million. And then the other side of that, I have a handful of people looking for about 3 million and up. And I'm like, okay, so that has to take me into Paradise Valley, Scottsdale. And so when I'm going into these open houses to preview these homes for my clients, right? And I see the other agent or the other person that is holding it open, and I see their name on the listing, and the way that they're talking, the way that they're just, going about themselves. And then I do some research on social media. I'm like, oh, this guy's not who I thought he was. I'm like, okay, that's where my competitiveness comes in. My comparison comes in. I'm like, so you're telling me this guy, like, this is the guy that you have on your listing? Like the guy who just posted a story of him doing some not so cool things in Old Town Scottsdale, and his social media page is not professional. He's not professional, but this is the guy that I'm like competing with. I go and I tell my wife all of this stuff, and she's like, shut up. I'm like, you don't get it, but it opens up your mind to where you're like, okay, like, if these are the people that I'm competing with, like, let's fucking go.
It's like when other dudes, like, okay, when you see like an attractive girl and like the husband or what, or boyfriend or whoever it is, and you're the other dude, and you're like, this is the guy?
Yeah.
Like that guy.
I feel like there are people looking at my pictures thinking that right now, man. So
Oh, no.
Oh, that's so funny. Where can people get a hold of you? How can people get in contact with you?
They can get in contact with me through Instagram. All of my contact info is there.
would you plug that Instagram handle? That way they can go with you.
Marcelino, Marcelino _Lopez with 2 Z's at the end.
Ooh, 2 Z's.
Yeah, because somebody already took Marcelino Lopez. So I can't put real, like the real Marcelino, because then that sounds kind of arrogant.
We're also going to have a guest page for you. So you're also going to be on our page, which is the boldmovespodcastaz.com. So you're going to have a little page there, and then we'll have your contact information there too. So if anyone didn't write down or whatever, they can go there and they can
Find you that way.
click link. So, but man, it's been awesome. I'm glad you were able to come on the show, and
thank you for having me.
Chat, and yeah,
Thank you for being
this
here.
is very cool. But yeah, we'll catch you soon. All right.
Cool.
All right, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
See you guys. All right. Bye-bye.